Hey everyone, welcome. I'm Naomi, and today I have something really fun for you. So are you familiar with thread the needle? This is a pose that we usually do as a cool down, something that we are doing to help our bodies just relax and restore after maybe a very dynamic practice. Sometimes it's used as a warm-up too, but what if we could use thread the needle as a really fun jumping off point into some dynamic and creative flows? Would that be interesting? Well, that's exactly what I'm about to do in this quick tutorial. I'm going to show you 10 different ways that you can transition into and out of thread the needle that you maybe have never thought of before. And when we're done with that, I'm going to show you 3 options for turning those into little mini flows to spark your creativity when you are feeling like playing on your mat on your own. If that sounds like fun to you, what are you waiting for? Let's do it, and I'll see you on the other side. Okay, so let's get right into it. Now, let's just start by getting to know thread the needle first. So coming down to your hands and knees, do make sure that there's a blanket underneath your knees if your knees are divas like mine are, and for good reason, right? So definitely support your knees. All right, so you're gonna come into table pose. Hands as wide apart as your shoulders, knees as wide apart as your hips. And you do want a little bit of space through your torso. So you don't necessarily want your shoulders directly over your wrists or your knees directly under your hips. In fact, as you can see, my shoulders are slightly ahead, or slightly behind. Sorry, my hands are slightly ahead of my shoulders and my knees very slightly behind my hips. And that just gives me a little bit more space. Now, come up onto your right fingertips. Take your left arm and slide it underneath your right arm. Okay, so your right elbow bends. You're up on your fingertips just to give your shoulder a bit more room. Okay, now your shoulder will probably come to the floor. If not, if you can't get your shoulder to the floor, you might be on your forearm, all right? You might not be able to get all the way underneath. That's fine. You could even put your palm on the ground if you find that being on the back of your hand doesn't work, right? If your shoulder doesn't come all the way down. If you put your palm on the ground, that might actually give you more of an opportunity to pull through, okay? And then you can flip so that your palm is face up, okay? And then you could stay here with both knees on the floor, or you could extend your right leg straight back with your foot on the floor. Another variation is to lift your right arm straight up. And if you want to get really fancy, you could keep your right arm down and lift your right leg up with your toes point out. And if you want to get really wild, you could lift your right arm up as well, so your right hand and your right foot are off the floor. And then you put everything back where you found it and unwind back into table pose where you started. Okay, let's do the other side. So come up onto your left fingertips, thread your right arm underneath your left. Okay, so your left elbow will bend. And again, this just gives you more room in your left shoulder joint, more ability to move your shoulder. You can, if you choose, extend your left foot back. You could lift your left arm up. Okay, and you could also put your left hand down and lift your left leg up. And if you're feeling really enthusiastic, you could lift your left arm and try to balance. I frequently roll out of this, and I think the only reason I'm not right now is that I'm teaching. Put everything back down, come back to where you started. I perform really well under pressure, right? But when I'm doing that on my own, usually I roll out of it. So if you happen to roll out of it, just know that it happens to the best of us, okay? So now that you've done your thread the needle, let's move on to some of these really cool transitions, okay? So again, come up onto your right fingertips, and we're gonna start with something fairly basic. So thread left arm underneath right. Okay, thread left arm under right, and then push your right hand down. So you started up on your right fingertips, push your right hand down, and then as you unwind, extend your right leg straight back, left arm forward. Yep, so you come into a table balance. Okay, and then place left hand down, right knee down. You can do it on the other side. So come up onto your left fingertips, thread your right arm underneath your left, plant your left hand. So you're gonna push down through your left hand. It gives you more power this way, more stability too. And as you unwind, extend left leg straight back, right arm forward into your table balance. Okay, bring your right hand and your left knee down. Now, alternatively, let's do that one more time on each side. Come up onto your right fingertips, left arm under right, extend your right leg back. Now this time, lift your right leg up. Don't turn your foot out, just lift your foot, plant your right hand, unwind, and just left arm goes forward because your right leg is already lifted. Okay, another option. And then bring them both down, hand and leg. Come up onto your left fingertips, thread right arm underneath, extend your left leg back, and then lift your left foot up, plant your left hand, unwind, and take your right arm forward. Okay, so you're in table balance again here. Okay, bring everything back down. And I offer that just as, a way to say, hey, you could do both arm and leg at the same time, or if you just want to focus on keeping that back leg steady and unwinding just your arm, it's an alternate way of playing with that transition. Okay, now, next one, come up onto your right fingertips, thread your left arm underneath your right arm. Okay, extend your right leg straight back. Now, from here, you're going to shift your hips back, slide your right leg out, and come to sit. Okay, this is Janu Shirshasana. Okay, so just come to sit. Now, you could fold forward here. You could do all kinds of things in this particular pose. To come back, all you have to do is wiggle your way back, slide your leg back in to table. Okay, again, there are many ways to transition out of that, but that is the easiest one. Okay, so come up onto your left fingertips, thread your right arm underneath, and I think you'll be able to see the transition a little bit better from here. Okay, extend your left leg straight back, and then you have to push off of your left hand and shift back. So I'm shifting onto my right hip, ball of my left foot comes up, my butt goes way back to sit down. Yep. And then you have to shift forward, crawl forward, and turn yourself back into table. Okay, so that is your second transition from thread the needle into a seated pose, right? Into Janu Shirshasana. Okay, so on to the next one. Come up onto your right fingertips, thread your left arm under your right. Keep both of your knees in this time, okay? In thread the needle. Oh my God. Okay, on to the next one. Come up onto your right fingertips, thread left arm under right. And in this variation of thread the needle, you're going to keep both your knees down, so you're not extending a leg back. Not yet anyway. Plant your right hand, because you're transitioning. Unwind your left arm, and as you do, extend your left leg back into gate pose, left arm up. Okay, and then bring left hand back down, left knee back in. And we'll repeat on the other side. So come up onto your left fingertips, slide your right arm under your left. Okay, so you're not extending your leg back yet. Instead, plant your left hand, and as you unwind, extend your right leg out, right arm up. Yep. And then come on back to table where you started. All right, next variation, next transition, come up onto your right fingertips, slide left arm underneath your right arm. Okay, and then extend your right leg back. So we're going back to this one, okay, to this variation of thread the needle. Okay, and part of it is you're about to move your back leg. So as you unwind your left arm as though you were coming back into table, you're going to step your right leg forward, okay, at the same time. So unwind your left arm, step your right foot up to the outside of your right hand, take your left arm alongside your ear, and you could pivot on your left knee as well, so your foot points back behind you. If it's too much to keep your fingertips on the floor, you can pop your right forearm up to your right thigh. And then you get to come back to where you started. So right fingertips come back down, left foot points straight back behind you, extend your right leg back, thread left arm under your right. That's fun. And then come on back into table. Okay, come up onto your left fingertips, thread right arm under left, extend your left leg back. And you could do this without extending your leg back, but I feel like it gives you a lot more mobility to start with your leg back. Okay, so you can move your left fingertips a little bit more to the middle. It's also why it's good to be up on your fingertips, so that as you unwind your right arm, you can step your left leg forward, pivot on your knee, right arm alongside your ear. And again, left forearm can come up to left thigh. Okay, you don't have to keep your fingertips on the floor if it feels like too much. Okay, and then you come back the way you came in. So as you pivot, you're going to turn your right foot behind you again. Step your left leg way back, thread your right arm underneath your left. Okay, then unwind, back to table. Okay, now we're going to go into our fifth fun transition from thread the needle. Okay, so come up onto your right fingertips, and you want to be a little bit further forward on your mat for this, mostly because you're going to go backwards. Okay, so come up onto your right fingertips, thread your left arm under your right, extend your right leg back, and then lift your right leg up. Okay, lift your right leg up. Now push down with your right hand, unwind, keep your leg lifted, push down with your left hand. You've got to push up into three-legged dog. Turn your right foot out, walk your hands back, bring your right hand to your hip, half moon. Now I know I didn't ask you to get a block, so if you usually use a block for this pose, I apologize. Not in advance, I apologize after the fact. Okay, but you could bend your knee to be a little bit lower, right arm goes up, push your left leg straight if you can, and then you're going to come back into your dog, lower your left knee down, and lower your right knee down, although you certainly could go back and thread the needle from there. Let's do the other side. Okay, so come up onto your left fingertips, thread right arm under left, extend your left leg back, and lift your left leg up. Okay, plant your left hand so you can unwind with stability and power, right hand down, push off into three-legged dog, turn your left foot out if it turns down toward the floor, walk back towards your right leg. You can bend your right knee as much as you need to, and lift your left arm up. Now, if you can push your right leg straight, cool. If not, keep your knee bent. And then left hand goes back down, walk your hands back out, lower your right knee, left knee comes down too. Okay, a little bit more of an adventure for that one. All right, next variation, number 6. Come up onto your right fingertips, thread your left arm under your right arm. Okay, thread your left arm under your right arm. Okay, now, keep your knees as they are. As you unwind, bring your left hand back to your left heel or your hip. Lift your right arm up. So it's camel pose. Okay, so right arm is alongside your ear. Left hand is at your heel or your hip. And then you can bring your right fingertips back to the floor and thread left arm underneath right arm. And then come back into table. Let's do the other side. Come up onto your left fingertips. Thread your right arm underneath your left arm. Okay. And then as you unwind, you're going to reach your right hand back towards your right heel and lift your chest, left arm alongside your ear. Now, like I said, you can also bring your hand to your hip and take your left arm alongside your ear. All of those both of those variations are fine. And then you're going to reach your left fingertips back to the floor, thread your right arm underneath your left, and then come back into table where you started. Okay? So who knew that you'd go from thread the needle into camel pose? Well, that's what we're here for. We're here to leap into all of the creative options. And these are just 10, but now we are heading into number 7. Okay, so come up onto your right fingertips, thread your left arm under your right. Okay, now plant your hand, your right hand, and you're gonna push. And as you push, rotate your knees away from your right hand, push them straight so you come into Vashisthasana. And then you can rotate back toward the floor, knees down, thread left arm under right. Okay, we're going to do that 2 times in each side. So I think that one is a pretty tricky transition, but it's a really fun one. Requires a lot of control. Unwind, come up onto your left fingertips, thread right arm under left. Okay, plant your left hand, and as you push into your left hand, you're going to rotate your knees. So notice I rotate my knees away from my left hand to the right, and then I'm going to push my legs straight, right arm up. Notice too that my feet aren't stacked, they're staggered. Okay, that's fine, you don't have to stack them. And then when you want to come back down, you rotate your knees back toward the floor, and then up on your fingertips again, right arm under left. Okay, coming back to table. Let's try that one more time. I love that one because I think it embodies so much of what thread the needle is all about. It's about a lot of stability. So you got to hold the stability in your right arm, right, or your left arm, depending on which one is doing the support in Vashisthasana. So you've got to hold the stability there while the rotation happens in the rest of your body. Okay, and then you come back. So thread the needle is all about using stability to create more rotation. Okay, so come up onto your right fingertips, thread your left arm underneath your right. Okay, plant your right hand, and if there's nothing else that you feel like you can do, you can push through your right hand, rotate your knees, and then come back down, right? That might be all that you feel like you can manage to start, or you lift your knees, rotate, push your legs straight into Vashisthasana, and then bend your knees, rotate back down, and come back to thread the needle, left arm under right. Okay, let's go to the second side. Come up onto your left fingertips. Thread your right arm under your left. Okay, plant your left hand, push down, and again, you can do that, rotation, that's about all I got, and then back down, or rotation, push your legs straight, right arm up, and then bend your knees again, knees down, and thread right arm under left. Okay, so that is thread the needle to Vashisthasana. Next one actually doesn't even start in thread the needle. It starts in pigeon pose. So take your left knee forward, pigeon pose. Okay, left knee forward, pigeon. It's almost like kind of nice to have a break here, right? Left knee forward to pigeon. Okay, now come up onto your hands. Okay, slide your left leg back. Okay, so that your left leg goes straight back, your right knee is down, and thread right arm under left. So I know we're doing opposite leg first. That's okay. And then come on back into table. And take your right knee forward. Pigeon. Okay. Shift forward slightly so you can plant your hands. So you're not going to be as far down into the pose as you can be. You've got to shift forward. Slide your right leg straight back, toes on the floor, left arm under right, thread the needle. And then unwind back into table. Okay, we've got two more. This one's a fun one. I'm going to move my mat over just a little bit so that I have more space on both sides, because this one goes from thread the needle onto your back. Okay, so come up onto your right fingertips, left arm under right. Now remember that knee rotation that you did in the Vashisthasana variation? You're going to do that here, only instead of lifting your whole body off of the ground, you're going to the ground. So you're going to shift your knees to the left, toward that left hand stretched out so that your hip and thigh come to the ground. And then you sweep your right arm open and you're on your back in a supine twist. Okay, then as you come back over, right hand goes down, you push through your right hand, rotate your knees to the floor, unwind your left arm back into table. Okay, let's do the other side. So come up onto your left fingertips, thread your right arm underneath your left arm. Okay, same thing. You're going to scoot your knees towards your right hand and slide your right hip to the floor. And then take your left arm and open it into a supine twist. It's kind of lovely, actually. All right, then you bring your left arm back over, plant your hand. And you can do this like one of two ways, right? You can keep just your head and your face on the floor and slide your knees underneath you. If that doesn't feel good, you can unwind your right arm first and then bring your knees underneath you. Okay, so two ways to get out of it. Okay, both are fine. Last one. You ready? Last one. Okay, so the last one, thread the needle, come up onto your right fingertips. Okay, slide your left arm under your right arm. Okay, extend your right leg straight back. Now, plant your right hand, unwind your left arm, and bring your left forearm to the floor. Okay, now you have a couple of options. You can simply lift your left knee and walk your feet in. And you're in this really funky version of dolphin pose. Okay, so it's like a funky forearm inversion, right? Forearm dog, also known as dolphin. Okay, you could also lift your right leg up, and you could also try to balance. Okay. It's one of those like wacky poses that really it's just silly. It's just for fun. It's just for play. If nothing else, it is, can I keep my forearm and my hand on the floor? So where your forearm and your hand are, your forearm is down and your hand is in line with your elbow. So this is what your hands look like when they're on the ground. And maybe you just see, can I lift my knees away from the floor? That was fun. Knees down. Let's try the other side. Okay, so it's not necessarily about the inversion, although the inversion is, if you want to try it, cool. If you do want to try it and you've never done it before, highly recommend doing it near the wall. Okay, I'm only doing it in the middle of the room so that you have a better view of what's going on. But also, I would say that if you already struggle, like if you cannot do the inversion with both forearms down, maybe trying to do one forearm down and one hand down, that might not be like the that might not be like what you're aiming for, right? So maybe just knees away from the floor, funky dolphin, okay? Anyway, let's do the other side. So come into table pose. Now that I've thoroughly freaked you out, come into table pose, come up onto your left fingertips, slide right arm underneath left. Okay, right arm under left. Okay, now plant your left hand, unwind your right forearm, and bring your forearm down so your elbow is in line with your left hand. Okay, lift your knees up. Maybe you walk in, so you're in this funky version of dolphin, right? Funky dolphin. Okay, then maybe lift your left leg up. And maybe if you want to play, you just give a few hops. This is my more stable side in this pose, so when I give a few hops, it's like, oh, there's almost a balance there. Cool. Okay. But like I said, that is just for play. Okay, it's just for fun and it's just for play. What's going to happen in a pose like this, and I'll do it more in the front so you can see what my elbows are doing, is that my elbow, as I lift my leg, is going to go out to the side. You're not necessarily trying to rein it in. It's going to go out to the side a little. And if you fall out of the pose, it's most likely going to be toward the elbow that's bent, not the forearm that's on the floor. Just as a heads up. So just for fun, let's put a few of those together into like little mini flows. Okay, so come on into your table pose, come up onto your right fingertips, and thread left arm under right. Okay, left arm under right. And then from here, unwrap your left arm, reach your right hand back, camel, left arm alongside your ear. Okay, and then come on back, right fingertips go down, thread left arm under right. Okay, then plant your right hand, unwind into table balance, left arm forward, right leg back, and then reach for your right foot with your left hand and lift your thigh up. And then bring your right knee back down, thread left arm under right, and come back into table. Okay, so you can see how you can work that into a little bit more of a flow there. Come up onto your left fingertips. We'll do it on the second side. Right arm under left. And then as you unwrap yourself, reach right hand back, left arm alongside your ear. Okay, then bring your left fingertips forward. Thread your right arm underneath your left. Plant your left hand, unwind, reach left leg back, right arm forward. Then bend your left knee, reach for your left foot with your right hand. Remember, if you can't grab your foot, you can bring your hand to your hip, lift your thigh, roll your shoulder back. Lift your thigh up as you push down through your hand and your knee. And then left knee back down, thread right arm under left. And then come on back into table. Okay, so that's one little mini flow. Let's go for another. Come up onto your right fingertips. Okay, thread left arm under right. Move your right fingertips a little bit more towards your head, a little bit more toward the center. And then as you unwind your left arm, step right leg forward, left arm alongside your ear. So it's that kneeling side angle. Okay, then spin your left foot back, right leg back, thread left arm. Woo, see, I just rolled left arm under right. And then lift your right leg up. Plant your right hand, unwind your left hand, push off. Okay, so you're in that three-legged dog with your right foot pointed out, and then walk back. Okay, you might need to bend your left knee quite a lot. You might be able to straighten it, but now you're in a half moon. Fun. And then rebend your left knee, walk your hands back out. Lower your left knee down as you shift forward, and then right knee down. Let's do the other side. Come up onto your left fingertips, thread right arm under left. Okay. Extend your left foot straight back and move your left fingertips more towards your head. As you unwind your right arm, step your left foot up to the outside of your left hand. You can bring your forearm to your thigh, right arm alongside your ear. And then to come back where you started, left fingertips come down. Step your left leg back, right arm under left. Okay, then plant your left hand, lift your left leg up. push through your left hand. So you unwind your right hand, put it down, push off, three-legged dog with your left foot pointed out, and then walk back. Your knee can be bent as much as it needs to, but squeeze your legs toward one another and turn your chest up and away from your bottom leg. And push your right leg straight if you can. Rebend your right knee, walk your hands all the way back out. Shift forward as your right knee comes down, left knee down. Okay, last one. Take your right knee forward, pigeon pose. Okay, right knee forward, pigeon. Okay, now shift forward into your hands. Slide your right leg straight back. Okay, and then come up onto your right fingertips, left arm under right. Whew. And then you can turn your right foot out, or you could even send your right foot over to the right as you lower your hips back into Janu Shirshasana. Yep. So your left foot is up against your right thigh. And then you walk your way back in. You could even reach your right fingertips forward, thread your left arm underneath, swing your right leg back, and unwind. It's a little bit tricky to unwind out of that pose. Let's do the other side. Come up onto your left fingertips, thread, right arm under left. Oh, nope, I'm sorry. We got to do pigeon first. Left knee forward. Left knee forward. My bad. It happens. Okay, plant your hands, shift forward. So you're pushing through your right leg. Slide your left leg back. Go all the way back. Come up onto your left fingertips, right arm under left. Okay, and then you can sweep your left leg a bit to the left. That just gives you more room to lift the ball of your foot up so you're on your heel and take your hips back into Janu Shirshasana. And then if you ease yourself forward, you can reach your right fingertips out in front of you, right arm under left, bring your left leg back in, and unwind. Okay? And those are some fun ways to build them, your thread the needle variations, into flows. Thank you so much for joining me on that thread the needle adventure. I hope that it gave you some insight into just the many options that we have when it comes to movement, that we tend to get locked into very particular ways of moving, right? Especially if you take classes that are more traditional when it comes to yoga and movement. And while I think those have enormous benefit, I also think that having the opportunity to be creative on your mat, thinking outside of the box, I don't know, that's just fun for me. And it offers my body, and I hope yours, an opportunity to explore movement in so many more forms. Now, if that sounds like fun for you, I would love for you to join me in my online studio, Move with Naomi, in the month of January, because in January, Thread the Needle is our pose of the month, and we are going to be looking at all of these transitions and maybe even a few more as we move on our mats. Now, we're not only looking at it from a creativity perspective, from flows, but we are also looking at it from a strength perspective. What are some ways that we can use strength or strength building exercises to not only enhance this pose, but also to just look at strength from a different lens. So if you want to check out Move with Naomi and see what all of those exciting thread the needle adventures are going to be like, then definitely check out the description below, where you will not only find a link to learn more about Move with Naomi and all the fun things that we do there, but you will also see a coupon code that gives you 50% off your first 2 months. So basically that works out to 1 month for free. And I think that's a pretty sweet deal, if I do say so myself. So I hope that I will see you on the mat, whether in Move with Naomi or here on YouTube. I am so glad that you choose to share your movement adventures with me. Thank you for being here, and I will see you on the mat again soon.